your job and how you're helping individuals manage through these volatile times.
It's something that I think psychologists can provide a lot of help with, because right now a lot of what's happening is people's fears that you identified about what's going on in the economy. And as long as they focus on the sort of swirl of good and bad events around them, they're going to be subject to them. It's a lot like the joke about this man who goes to his doctor and he says, Doc, every time I go like this, it hurts. And the doctor says, stop doing that. It's like people opening up their statements for a long-term investment over and over and over again and feeling that pain. And I understand that because people want to know what's going on. They're concerned. Sure. They're watching the news all the time, for example. For folks at work, they're checking the websites of their whether it's CNN or their favorite financial website.
Right.
But these all have to do with things that they cannot individually control. The economy is not something that a single person can have an impact on. And so exposing themselves over and over again to bad news is creating this sort of angst or this paralysis that you're seeing right now. It's likely that people are checking things like their financial statements or their bank accounts or their investment accounts much more frequently than actually the long-term picture that you talked about would dictate. But they're worried, and the best thing to do when you're worried is to focus less on the news, because that's something you can't control. So one of the things that I advise people to do is kind of reduce their news intake. The health physician Andrew Weil suggests something he calls a news fast. He says, just take one day out of the week where you don't listen to the news, you don't watch the news so much. And as I tell people, if something really major happens, someone will let you know. Someone will tell you.
Somehow,
you don't need to be
some
on
way.
top of it that much. But reducing the news intake is one thing that they can do. The second thing that they can do is really decide what they can control versus what they can't. I think in Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the circle of concern. These are all the things you're worried about. And within that is the circle of influence, the things you can actually do something about. And it's people who focus on that circle of influence, the things they can actually do something about, tend to be more productive and happier, whether we're talking about their personal lives or their work lives. So that's an essential thing to do. Shift away a little bit from the whole economy, which can be quite overwhelming, to just the part that you can control. Can I call my investment advisor and get some good advice on what to do next? What can I actually do that has an impact on the things that I'm concerned about? And I'd say the third thing that they can do is to take an action. Even the small action of picking up the phone and calling their investment consultant is something that's a positive step that they can take. They cannot affect the economy, but they can affect that. But they can work a little harder. They can study more about how to invest more wisely. They can do something like watch this program. They can take small steps that actually do make a difference. And to me, that's really where the action is.